How Drake is destroying his own career. We're on the Fantastic Hip Hop channel. I'll leave their channel in the description. We ain't gonna waste no more time. Shout out to all the good humans, man. Let's jump right into it.
After Drake just broke his own silence after he pathetically backed out of his beef with Kendrick Lamar on the Hard Part 6. Between him sounding so destroyed on that track as he made a straight fool of himself by trying to defend his name from all of the allegations Kendrick threw his way in the lamest way possible, to then this response becoming viewed as an even worse song as Drake was proven to be a straight out liar about setting up Kendrick with the items seen on the cover art of his disses like Meet the Grams and 616 in LA. Overall for Drake, it seemed like his best course of action was just to lay low for a while as the entire world does a victory lap for Kendrick as Not Like Us continues to be played everywhere, and with Metro Boomin and the entirety of the BBL Drizzy challenge just making everything around Drake and his defeat in this beef even funnier. There has really been no option that Drake has when it comes to salvaging his reputation at the moment other than to just lay low and hope that he can make a full-on comeback in the future when the hype from this moment has went down. But despite all this, and despite his own words saying that he was backing out of this feud, which he seemed more serious about than anything he has in years, for some reason, Drake has already made his return to the limelight not even a month later on none other than Sexy Red's new album on the 4th track, You My Everything. And while Drake making this collab his first one back since what has been the most watched hip-hop feud arguably ever is just ironic. And when we go back to Kendrick's first full-on Drake diss, Euphoria, this makes Lamar's bars when he compares Drake to Sexy Red and says that she is Drake's real competition.
I was just finna say that. When Kendrick said, I believe when you see, when I see you stand by Sexy Red, I believe you see two bad bees. I was finna say, so this man is on the Sexy Red track after, and she's trash.
Even funnier. But besides just some jokes writing themselves, you would think that after Drake saying that he no longer wanted any part in this beef, that he would just be going back to the old goofy version of himself that is just saying whatever makes the song catchy, and while in some ways, he is doing this on this track. What's important is that in addition to this being the first time that we have heard him after everything that's went down with Kendrick in the entire rap game, despite his words wanting us to think otherwise, he is clearly still not over the beef and the entire feud, as during his feature on the track, he doesn't address Kendrick and Not Like Us, but actually Metro Boomin and his viral instrumental diss that targets Drake in BBL Drizzy. And what Drake does here is not try to put him in his place again like we saw him do on push-ups pretty effectively with one of the most memorable lines of this entire situation, but instead raps over the viral BBL Drizzy beat and in a way responds to the claims Rick Ross started about Drake enhancing the way he looks and that Metro has just turned into one of the biggest memes and viral challenges of the entire year with this beat, and what Drake talks about over what has become the soundtrack to this humiliating chapter in his career right alongside Not Like Us, in an attempt to try to level the playing field for him in some way. Drake defends himself by saying that he has changed girls' lives, and ultimately, the way he tries to push this across is by flipping the title of BBL Drizzy from being a nickname that mocks him for the way he has gotten cosmetic enhancements to instead be used as a moniker for him always being the guy to help girls look the way they want, which he directly raps about with the bars, BBL Drizzy, they want a new body, they ask me for it. And with lyrics like these, while this is not anything deep or even something that is going to reignite any tension between any of the parties in this beef most likely, still for Drake, doing this is just laughable for so many reasons, and while there is a reality where he could have rapped over this beat and threw it right back in Metro's face, trying to label yourself as the Batman of BBLs is definitely not the way out. I mean, the challenge Metro started with this song has gotten so out of hand with people rapping over it in so many different languages and just overall, with people going in on Drake over and over again and finding every different angle to pick him apart from. This beat is solidified as another part of what has made Drake the laughingstock in the rap game at this very moment in time. And while the circumstances and stakes are way lower here than anything that directly involves Drake and Kendrick, this method of responding that Drake has done both to Kendrick on the Hard Part 6 And here with Metro and now the greater public by trying to explain the root of the joke to detach yourself from the label just looks ridiculous, and no matter what you say, 99% of the time doesn't just make you look worse, but makes you look insane. And while if Drake would have just said these few bars and not rapped over Metro's beat, people may have reacted differently, as it would be right in line with any petty shot that Drake has targeted somebody with in recent years, which for the most part do an effective job at calling out whoever they are intended for without ever distracting the greater portion of the moment he's trying to deliver. As he raps over the actual beat that Metro made and tries to redefine the title, he takes what could have been maybe a decent subliminal and makes it consume the entire moment. And overall, beyond the song itself, it shows us that Drake is still so caught up on this entire feud despite him telling us otherwise. Now, one of the reasons Drake has dug himself into the hole he is in right now is because more than ever, from disses towards Kendrick that were straight out dumb and fired back on him to make something like the final verse on Not Like Us just flip his entire world upside down, to the way he has tried to defend his name all the way to this full circle moment where he is rapping over the BBL Drizzy beat, Drake has shown that he is way out of touch when it comes to saying and doing things in a way people can genuinely get behind, and with each time he just continues to miscalculate what listeners respond well to, and what would be an effective way to clap back at somebody, which before this, he was generally pretty clever with, even with somebody like Pusha T, who he took a massive L to, for example.
Yeah.
He is just disconnecting more and more from the aspects that have made him the force that he was.
What do you say, Kendrick? I want to see you push a T. Yeah, it's so crazy, man, how, and then you, not to mention you got all the ghostwriters and stuff like that. So, like I say, I'm really not a fan of Drake. I mean, I've heard his music before. I haven't even heard the BBL Drizzy or whatever. But that's just a big difference when you're rapping against someone that really is in that lifestyle, about that lifestyle, versus someone who is portraying and just trying to fit in or whatever, is what Drake is trying to do. So that's why you got so many people. I know YG, I think just recently dropped something dissing him, Snoop Dogg. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
And now, this moment we are witnessing right now is the very consequence of all of Drake's poor choices, and this downfall he has had into this self-obsessive parody of himself, because from hopping on a sexy red track, to rapping over a beat that's made by your rival and just straight up making fun of you, to then defending yourself from said title in the lamest way possible, and then doing all of this just weeks after you were called out for doing pathetic things like this. All in all, Drake is just scrambled up right now in a way where he is a complete and utter mess. And the way that he used to be able to do things, even if they were mediocre and still receive positive reactions, excitement, and laughs from them, now he is just looking lost, confused, corny, and most crucially, everything that has went down with Kendrick, Future, Metro, and everyone else is only occupying up more and more room in his head with each moment that passes. We're all the way to now. He is just doing Kendrick and Metro's jobs for them, as by bringing their bars to life and feeding into the very ideas and jokes that they created, which only gives them more validity. Drake has fallen.
I remember in Kendrick's song King Kunta, he said something like, I was gonna something to rappers, but they did it to themselves. Basically saying he was gonna do something to all these rappers, but they did it to themselves or whatever. It's crazy. And that song was, I forgot how long ago. So yeah, some people can already see the wave people be riding and how they gonna come to a crash. Easy.
Into the lethal trap that pushes an Ellen rap beef into a career-altering moment, which is only able to really happen when you stop battling your opponent and start to fight something that is much worse, yourself. From the gaslighting, attitude change, and over-explaining on the Hard Part 6, to running around with the artist you got made fun of for always being with and turning what would be a subliminal into a moment where you look like you don't even realize that we're all laughing at you and not with you. This is really so pathetic that Kendrick and Metro no longer need to respond to Drake in any capacity, because he's no longer battling them and is now fighting with the ideas that they have put into his head, which, despite his claims of him being the chess master who can never be broken or outsmarted, have changed everything about Drake right now. So at this point, and as I have said before, I don't think there's a road that Drake can take right now that will be able to redeem him in a way where he can genuinely get respect back. And the best thing to do would have been to just lay low, but as it looks right now, it seems like he is just going to be running through the motions on features where he is going to allude to these feuds like he is unscathed from them, but as he references them and morphs the classic Drake subliminal into this over the top and corny moment that just keeps adding fuel to an already burnt out fire, it's only going to make him look crazier and crazier, and by never stepping away and giving himself time to really think about how to move forward, Drake is going to stay trapped in this state of limbo where no matter what he does, he cannot escape his own failure. So let me know, what do you think of this new Drake feature, and how does it affect everything going on around him at the moment? I can't wait to hear what you have to say, and if you want to see the complete history of every Kendrick Lamar beef, which really gets surprising and shocking when you see how many people have tried to disrespect him over the years, check out the suggested video.
Yeah, man. I haven't heard it, don't plan on hearing it. To me, once I seen all that stuff about Drake and the young girls, like that was enough for me. I don't even care about the music at all. At all. But, they did go through some of the lyrics. That's why I said, can people separate the artist from the music? But like I said, Drake has so many lyrics that is him talking about like young girls. So it's like it's crazy that so many people are fans of his, and it's like they look past that stuff. You know, wild, very wild. But hey, appreciate you guys coming. Uh, but again, I don't know, cause like he's on a song with Sexy Red, so obviously she don't have a problem with him with young girls. So, or I should say, her label, the people controlling her. All right, peace out.